So just to elaborate a little bit on the Myford cross slides, I have the current collection here, just try to tidily present them on the table here for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ML7s and 1, 2, 3, 4 Super 7s, at least this collection. You can see then that the ML7s are shorter, at least apart from this long version of the cross slide, while the Super 7s were, let's say, improved and have a longer travel, or supported travel, you can say, with the extra T-slot. And here we can see then the two versions of the mounting of the top slide, the ML7 here and the Super 7 here. The Super 7 then has a angled boss here, which is located in a bigger hole and then fixated with screws from each side here, with tapered pins that go in here. This is, I think, less sturdy actually than what you have here, but of course this ML7 then version has a limited travel plus minus 45 degrees because it uses the T-slots here, while this can rotate freely all over. But the downside is actually then that this is, I think, a little bit less sturdy. However, this, as we have seen, also then is linked up with the problem if it sits long enough or is worked, long enough, that the T-slot grows or has a tendency to grow. So just an added complexity when scraping. Another obvious difference between the ML7 and the Super 7 is that the ML7 uses a long Gib strip like this, thin one with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pusher screws, while the Super 7 has a somewhat more sophisticated system using Gib blocks, which can more easily be scraped really, and also adjusted. So these are then, let's see, like this, of course, put in and are fastened with 4 screws here, and they have also then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pusher screws, so 3 for each one, and this is a superior setup really. It's also evident that you have some of these witness mark left, even though I ideally would want to have them all removed. These, for example, are so deep that I have sufficed only to take down this side, grind it flat, therefore haven't removed, it's like this way, haven't removed to the full depth of these. They don't pose anything but, at least not now, a let's say a nuisance to the eye. Anyway, you can see then that not all of these are pristine. Exactly. If you turn it around here, you see that these are now scraped, at least rough scraped, and any way you want to scrape the machine or hand scrape, they would like or best be at least left with a somewhat of a scrape finished to have the oil retention functions or capacity. Not that they are just ground flat, because then they will be prone to stick slipping, force the oil out, and well, they will have to be scraped, redone at a much earlier date. Here you can also see then the one I had dinged up. So this has to be taken down again, probably because of insufficient attention to proper storage. From the side here, you also saw probably that some of these were scraped in a somewhat different manner than usual, and these are pull scraping, just example of me experimenting a little bit. It is of course a method that you can use all over, but I would prefer to have it just as, let's say, eyewash or This is a very, very finishing technique, because these marks are not deep enough to be producing anything but just let's say a nice effect to look at. And it would be rather inefficient to use this overall. However, you can see then the different, let's say, effects it has. Like we can call it diamond pattern, probably. At least this one, which is the where I have used the most angles. I cut it like this one is cut like so and so, at least finished off so and so. This I have done so, and also then the usual 45 degrees. And this one I just used 45 degrees. Looks okay, but looks can be deceiving. It's nowhere near certain that this is flat if you haven't tested it on the plate. Just at least I think it looks okay. So just be aware of that when you see scraping, that you have to test it anyhow. And also then if you see a ground surface, it is only as good as the setup and the grinder and whatever or whoever did that can do it. So it's not necessarily flat. As long as it's just is untested, you don't know. So I have here another crossline already scraped a bit, and what I did, which is one at least method, I hand scraped first to get it as flat as possible, and then I starting off with more or less finished scraping direct on this. Could of course use this first with the circles for roughing out. And this started off exactly as the other one here, namely with being high on the ends. Now we will blue it up to see how bad it is. And not surprisingly, it was quite the same as I measured with the indicator. This one didn't touch as much as I thought it would, but at least here 6 and then 5 and 7, all the evidence of the highest spots. So I said, could start off here with the bikes directly, but then I would need to change the blade to the same as I have on this one, wider blade. Just tuck down this one, and then I use the method like Richard taught us, namely to the belly and then holding the scraper, firmly with both hands. And then I can do the touch and go if I want to, at least. Scooting this off, I think that's a very efficient method. Turning it here, and then I'll do the other way next time, of course. Now carrying on here. So, could do further on, and then of course economize my scraping, but I will take it step by step now. And the reason I can do this is that I know I have the references in order, that this is flat. Then I know I can take it straight on. So it's looking a little bit odd at this point, but you see here I'm getting the low spots here in the middle, which we know were lowest. So although not here, probably that was lower then. At least then this is on the right track, although it's looking a little bit odd. So we the other way. I'm not too concerned if I get some ripples at this point. That will be taken care of later. trying to push with my stomach here, and having both hands here, it is more controllable in that axis rotation around my wrist. So the other way. Oh, come on. There's a lot of swarf. Of course, so you will see the high spots. You see there where there are. You see now it's starting to fill in a little bit more here, then we are good to go there, and then this will shift a little bit. If I'm careful now, I can do this, so continue to fill in without making any mistakes. It will then improve all the time. That means I have to be a little bit more careful, I think, at this point. I would say, as a beginner, make yourself one of these. It costs you nothing in reality but the blade here. The blade is where you should put the money, not in the handle here. And I only use it, towards the belly here and push. The reason this is so effective is that you use the force of the hips and body and control it, and also then over here on the long arm with both hands. That's much better than using the stiffer, and then this is also more springy, so it's much better than the stiffer, shorter, and the commercially available scrapers, which you use hand scraping like so, where you have a lot more room to maneuver. See how it's gripping in there? Not much more to go there. Instead of this method, I could of course use this guy, so only switching out the blade here. This one. Setting the correct stroke length. Okay. Okay for me at least. With this method, I will then do circles. So same here, just a little bit more, then we can find out if we satisfy what we would call roughing. And there we are, typical sign of the flat ground area filling in like so. So now we'll try to get it to boom up more consistently, the coverage, and then we'll start point. Now after some more time, more glue applied. No, not on the hands, but here of course, on the plate, and then transferred over to the part here. just to show how it's covering pretty much all over, and I will start point spotting it.